Welcome back to the podcast. We're going through self-sabotage and self-worth. So if you sabotage your life, you self-sabotage things, your business, your relationship, your health, anything in life, or you doubt yourself with your self-worth, you don't think you're worthy of something, you don't think you're deserving of something, or you're not enough, or something like that, then this podcast is going to be for you. This is going to be a very practical podcast. I'm going to give you 4 practical things that you can do to actually improve those areas. So please stick around. This is going to be very valuable. I will be sharing my screen. So if you can watch the video version of this podcast, that would be awesome. I believe YouTube and Spotify has the video. You don't need to, but it is, I'm a bit of a visual learner. So if you do enjoy that, you can certainly watch the video version of this. So let's kick it off. First and foremost, this is my quote when it comes to self-sabotage. You never self-sabotage. You just realign with how you view yourself to be. I'll say that again. You never self-sabotage. You just realign with how you view yourself to be. So what do I mean by that? Now, there's 4 pieces, as I mentioned. Now, the first one that I'm going to go into is values. Now, I talk about values all the time. It's my most probably said word, to be honest, with the work that I do. And you'll understand why if you haven't heard it before. So your values are areas of life that are intrinsically important to you. They intrinsically fulfill you. Now, if you ever hear the words, I'm sharing my screen now for people that aren't watching it, but I'll read it out anyways. So whenever you hear the words, you have to, you ought to, you should, you must, you got to, you're supposed to, or some version of this, someone is projecting their values onto someone else. That's what's happening in that moment. When you hear someone, you have to do this, you should do this, you must do this, you got to do this, you're supposed to do this, whatever that may be with your career, with your health, with your business, or anything like that. Someone's projecting their values onto someone else. Now, you see this little photo here. I talked about self-worth and obviously self-sabotage, which I'll get into soon. Low self-worth is feedback that you are not prioritizing your own values. Someone is projecting their values onto you and you're listening to them. I'll say that again. Someone is projecting their values onto you and you're listening to them. So let me go in a little bit deeper. So I talk about what are values. Let's sort of go into that quickly. Most people think values are things like honesty, freedom, loyalty, integrity. These are not values. These are character traits or behaviors. Values are areas of life. They're things that you can do, focus on, think about, create, make money doing. They're things you can live out. I use freedom all the time. You probably get sick of it if you've heard this 100 times from me. Freedom's the easiest one that makes sense. So most people think they value freedom. So then I say, okay, if I gave you $1 billion right now, I don't have $1 billion, but say I gave you $1 billion US and you never had to work ever again, you would have instant time and financial freedom. You could do whatever the hell you wanted to do, right? Now, if that was the case, would you sit on your couch and just watch Netflix and do nothing else for the rest of your life? 100% of people I've asked that question to say no. But interesting. I thought you just wanted to have freedom. You valued freedom. No. Then I would say, okay, well, what would you do instead? What your answers are, those are your values. Or they're a sign of your values, and then you've got to get clear on what they actually are specifically. As an example, if you value travel and experiences, you're probably going to go travel the fucking world, and you're probably going to go first class, right? You're going to go travel to all the places and experience everything you wish to experience. If you value self-growth or learning, you're probably going to sign up to a mastermind. You're probably going to get a mentor. You're probably going to get a coach. You're going to spend money on your self-growth and self-development. If you value health, you're probably going to spend money on health and spend time on your health. You might buy a sauna, buy an ice bath, buy all the supplements. You might get your own home gym. You get a personal trainer. If you value wealth or money, you would probably buy some assets. You'd buy some property. You'd buy some stocks. You'd buy some assets to build your wealth. What else is there? There's heaps out there. If you value your relationship or relationships, you'd probably spend some time with your partner. You'd probably take them out to dinner. You'd probably take them traveling. You'd give them things that hopefully they value. You know your partner's values and you get to love them within their values. Whatever you do are your values. They're areas of life. You focus on it. You think about it. You visualize it. It energizes you. So where does this tie into self-sabotage? So if you are having someone project their values onto you and you're living to them, you're listening to them. When you experience self-doubt, procrastination, the lack of motivation, those are all feedback that you're trying to go after someone else's values. You're trying to be someone that you're not. I love this quote. I use it all the time. The need for motivation is a symptom of an uninspired goal. I'll say that again. The need for motivation is a symptom of an uninspired goal. No one had to motivate me to make this podcast right now. I've filmed podcasts on a Sunday night just because I'm like, my partner is away or whatever was doing. Sometimes she's been home as well. And I was like, fuck, what would I love to do right now? What would I be inspired to do right now? What would I be energized to do right now? I'm like, I feel like doing a podcast. So I run upstairs, run into my office and I do a podcast. No one has to motivate me to do it. So if you're like forcing yourself to do something because your mum, your parents, your friends, society, religion are saying you have to do this, you should do this, you got to do this, you must do this, you're going to have a lot of resistance to doing that. I'll use one more example before I move on to the next steps. Say, for example, your highest value is family and you love your family, you love your kids, you love your relationships. Those are your highest values. And then a bodybuilder comes over to you and their highest value is health and training and image or something like that. And they come over to the person, you, who values health and, family and parenting and all that. And they say, you should, and you have to go to the gym more. You should do a bodybuilding comp. You have to do this, blah, 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 blah. And they project. The family person who actually doesn't value health that much and bodybuilding and image and doing it that much, say that person listens to the bodybuilder. And then this family person, this parent who loves family, loves parenting, loves their kids, and values all of those things, starts going to the gym more than they actually want to. And they start to beat themselves up. They start to feel guilty. They start to shame themselves because they're taking time away from doing the things they actually want to do, which is their family, which is their kids, which is their relationships. Eventually, you're going to self-sabotage the goal of the bodybuilding because they're not your goals. Like I said at the start, self-sabotage is realigning with how you view yourself to be. So if you keep setting goals based on someone that you're not, someone else's values, someone else's projections, and you just keep giving up on them, maybe that's a sign you're just actually not doing the things you want to do. So how do you fix this? Get clear on your values and actually set goals within them. I don't have any goals of being a fashion model or being a runway model or having a fashion business. I don't value image very highly. For anyone that knows me, I wear like the same shit every single day. I barely do my hair. Like my hair, if you're watching the video, my hair's not very clean and like done up. I just stroke it back. I'm good to go. I wear like Nike pants all the time. I wear thongs all the time. I've spoken on stage barefoot. It's like I don't really care too much about image and beauty because it's just not a high value of mine. So if you try to get me to do values that aren't mine, like image, I would procrastinate, I would hesitate, I just wouldn't follow through with it, and I would self-sabotage those goals because they're not my goals. So that's the first step. I'm going to move on to the next one because we're going to be here for a while. The second step, the second piece to this is limiting beliefs. So I love this topic of limiting beliefs. Inner work's my favorite topic to talk about. So limiting beliefs. These are the things that create glass ceilings. So I'm going to scroll down. I'm sharing my screen, by the way, if you guys aren't watching. So you download limiting beliefs. So let's go a little bit further. So your ego is the identity of who you view yourself to be and who you think you need to be loved and to be enough. That's the ego. Now, the ego has two traits. Now, this is where it becomes self-sabotaging. The ego has two traits. It will make itself right, even if it's limiting, and it's going to avoid pain. Okay, so I'm going to say that again. It will make itself right, even if it's limiting. So, if you have beliefs, and the example I always use, have you ever met a baby whose first words were, I'm not enough? Have you met a baby whose first words were, I'm not enough? Absolutely not, because you're not born like that. I say it all the time. You're born limitless, but you're programmed out of it. A baby doesn't believe they're not enough. A baby, without the negative conditioning, believes they can do anything. They can be an athlete, a celebrity, a superstar, rich, they can do all these incredible things. But then you download the beliefs of, I'm not enough, I'm too much, I'm not worthy, I'm broken, I'm ugly, life is scary, money is evil, I can't trust anyone. Love is painful, my needs don't matter, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm stupid. You download these beliefs. And you make them true. You make these beliefs true. If you believe, I'll use an example that I commonly use. Say you believe that you're not worthy of love. Say you believe that. Then you get yourself into a relationship, but you believe you're not worthy of love. You will find things to reaffirm that you're not worthy of love. They don't respond to you on time. You think they're ignoring you. You think they're cheating on you. You're going to find things that aren't there and make them true to yourself, because the ego, it's called a confirmation bias. You find things that you already believe to be true. So if you believe that you're not enough or you're not worthy of love, even if your partner, I'll use an example. Say your partner doesn't text you back straight away. So you send them a text and they don't respond to you. Like, they could be busy. They could be talking to something happened. Their car could have broken down. Something could have happened. But if you believe you're not worthy of love, you're going to make it that, they didn't respond to me because it's because of me. It's because I'm not lovable. It's because I'm not enough. You find things to confirm the beliefs you already have. It's called a confirmation bias. That's the trait of the ego that makes itself right. This, again, becomes a limiting glass ceiling. Back to the quote. You never self-sabotage, you realign with how you view yourself to be. You're going to self-sabotage the values that aren't yours, they're someone else's values, and you're going to sabotage based on the beliefs that you have. So you want to make sure you're being aware of your limiting beliefs. I'm not enough, I'm not worthy. Obviously, just gave you guys a big list of them, because these are, I'll actually go into it soon, these become the self-sabotaging patterns. Now, I'm going to go into the next one because I don't want to be here all day for you guys. So first one was values. Second one was limiting beliefs. Third one, this is actually my most passionate one to help people with, is trauma. So for me, my definition of trauma, and just disclaimer, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, don't listen to this part if you're not open-minded, okay? So I'm not traditionally trained, I've been alternatively trained in different modalities. So with that being said, let's rip into it. So my definition, trauma is a moment in time when something was too much or not enough. I'm going to give you a lot right now, so please dial your ears up. So there's going to be a lot. You might want to replay this section. Trauma is a specific word. It is a trait, action, or inaction. Okay? So it's a moment in time when something was too much or not enough. And whatever was too much or not enough will be a specific word. It will be a trait, action, or inaction. And of course, you can have many specific times with many specific actions, traits, and inactions. I'll give you a list of some of them. You might have too much pain, rejection, criticism, embarrassment, abuse, overwhelm, or you might have not enough love, safety, validation, presence, being heard, being held, being supported. Also missed one, too much invalidation. So it will be a specific action, inaction, or trait. Now, this is where the self-sabotaging patterns come into it. For every trauma that you have, you will create a coping strategy to protect and hide the trauma. Listen to that again. For every trauma that you have, you will create a coping strategy. It allows you to hide and protect the trauma. They're also known as traumatic reactions, coping mechanisms, and also shadows. Here's a list of some of them. So, and again, there's many more than this, but here's just a list of some of them. So here's some examples of coping strategies. Disassociation, procrastination. You get a knot in your stomach. You shame yourself. You're avoidant and you shut off. You have eating disorders, anxiety, depression, becoming a people pleaser, needing to be better than everyone else, excessive working, that was one for me, drug and alcohol abuse, or hatred for men or women. These are coping strategies for you to overcompensate from your trauma. These coping strategies, listen to this part, these coping strategies become the silent puppet masters sabotaging your life. Listen to what I just said. Now, for every trauma that you have, you'll be triggered when something reminds you of the trauma. Let me tie all of this in for you, okay? Let me tie this all in. So, nothing triggers you, it reveals what's inside of you. So, this is where the sabotaging patterns come into it. Actually, I'm not going to go down that pathway. No, you're right. I'm going to keep going. So, you have something called the reticular activating system inside of your mind. You find things to reaffirm. You find things that you deem as important, okay? It's called the reticular activating system. It's also called the RAS for short. You find things that you deem as important. So it's like, say you've bought a car or you wanted to buy a car and you see that car everywhere, or you buy the new clothes, the shoes, the dress, and you find those things everywhere. You find things that you deem as important. However, it works in reverse. If I tell you, don't look for a yellow bus, what are you thinking about? A yellow bus. So you're going to find the things you're trying to avoid. I like the quote, past hurt creates future fear, and what you run away from, you run into. So whatever trauma or wounds or things that were too much or not enough, if you haven't healed through it, you're going to be attracting it into your life. Let me go through it. So you've got a trauma you haven't healed through. You're going to try to avoid it. Therefore, you're going to attract it. You're then going to be triggered by it, which will set off the coping strategy. And you're going to continue to do this until you heal it. This is the sabotaging patterns. This is the self-sabotage. This is the glass ceiling. You just keep attracting people to set off your coping strategies. Can you see the challenge with this? This is a funny example. Do you know anyone, maybe it was you, who said you didn't want to attract a narcissist because you were hurt from one in the past? So you got hurt from a man or a woman who you see as a narcissist, and you've been hurt by that, and you haven't healed it yet. So you're like, I don't want to date a narcissist. I'm sick of narcissists. I hate narcissists. I never want to have one again. But then you end up attracting another partner who does the same fucking thing. Isn't that interesting? Maybe that hit home a little bit too hard for you right now. And if it did, perfect. There's an opportunity for you to heal. So until you heal through your trauma, your wounds, you're going to keep attracting people to trigger your coping strategies. Again, this is the glass ceiling, the self-sabotaging patterns that people play out. One of my favorite quotes, you will attract people and circumstances to reveal where you have not healed. I hope this is making sense. Now, I'm going to finish off with the last step. The last step for me is more practical. I am all about the inner transformation, the healing, the limiting beliefs, the trauma, the values. I'm all about that. I'm also a practical motherfucker as well. I'm also about, okay, what's the thing you want to get better at? And let's actually practice the thing you want to get better at. So if you're self-sabotaging with your, say, sales because you're not good at sales, then do a ton of fucking sales calls. Have a ton of sales practices. Like people say, I'm just sabotage myself with posting content because I overthink it. I don't think I'm good at it. Fucking practice it. Make 100 videos. Go live every single day. Do what you need to do to practice the skill. So there's two parts when it comes, for me, when it gets tactical. Number one is planning. So I actually did have this, but I don't know if I'll be able to get it in time for you guys. There it is. So this is where complexity is the enemy of execution. I'll say that again. Complexity is the enemy of execution. So how do you eat the whale at once? You can't. It's overwhelming. So you want to break it down into bite-sized pieces. So if you are self-sabotaging, you maybe haven't chunked your goals down enough. If you're like, I want to, say you've never done business before, you've never made a sale before, you've never made money from a business before, and you don't know the steps needed, and you're like, someone just tells you, go open up a business, go make money. You're like, where the fuck do I start? There's so much, it's overwhelming, and a confused mind does not take action. So you might be self-sabotaging yourself because you actually don't know what to do. And this is, again, where I like to be practical. Yes, let's do the inner healing. Let's get rid of your beliefs. Let's heal your trauma. Let's get clear on your values. Let's do all of that. But at the same time, let's break down your goals into very specific things that you can do so it doesn't overwhelm you. Like today, I've got 4 things to do. I'm filming this podcast. I'm filming some content. I've got some homework I'm doing, and I'm doing this this automation stuff. It's like I don't have like 1,000 things to do today because it would overwhelm the shit out of me. So you want to break your goals into bite-sized pieces. How do you do that? I do that through planning. We take your life's mission and vision and purpose. I haven't done that today. Haven't spoken about that today, but those are things I do. And then we break it into a 5 to 10 year goal, which is your mission. Then we go 3-year goals, 2-year goals, annual goals, quarterly goals, monthly goals, weekly goals, daily goals. We do all of that. We break it down into bite-sized pieces. So then you have clarity to move forward. All of this will take care of your sabotaging patterns and your lack of self-worth. Number one, let me rephrase that because I kind of went off track with this. I hope you guys got some value from this and you can feel my enthusiasm with this stuff. Number one is values. If you're self-sabotaging your goals, you might not be doing goals that actually are meaningful to you. You're listening to mum or dad or religion or society or your friends or your partner, and you're not actually clear on the things that fill you up and you're not doing them. So get clear on your values and actually live to them and set goals within them. Number 2 was limiting beliefs. Identify your limiting beliefs. I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. I'm stupid. I'm ugly. I'm not lovable. Whatever it is. Identify them and get rid of them. Heal them. Number 3 is your trauma, because every trauma has a coping strategy, which then triggers you and then will sabotage you, and you will keep attracting people to trigger them until you heal through them. So number 3, trauma, go heal through your trauma. Number 4 is practical. What's your goals and actually break it down into actionable steps so you know how to move forward. A confused mind does not move forward. And then I guess the second part to the last point was actually practice it. So know what you need to do and just fucking practice it. Like some people say, how do you get so confident on videos? It's like, I fucking made a ton of videos. This is like the 200th and 299th podcast. And that's just one platform I make content on. I film reels, I do TikToks, I do live videos, I do a ton of content. So practice the thing you want to get better at. And all of that together will help you overcome any self-sabotaging patterns that you're going through, any lack of self-worth or self-doubt that you're experiencing. It will take care of it, I guarantee you. It might be one of these pieces that you need. It might be all of the pieces that you're missing. That's okay. Now, you might be asking, how can you actually do this? How can you work through this? And you want help with it? I can help you with that. If that resonates with you, before I offer you that, if you got value from this, please like the video. Please, it helps the algorithm so much. Subscribe if you haven't, and share this with a friend. It would really, really mean a lot. If you would like to work with me and actually learn how to do this step by step, module by module, get coached by me live, we do live calls, you get an onboarding call with me. I have a conscious community where I help do exactly what I showed today, plus much, much more. And I do one-on-one coaching. There's an application link down below. So if you want to join the community or you want to apply to work with me one-on-one, all those details down below. I hope you got value from this. I hope it made sense to you. I get a little bit enthusiastic about this stuff, and I hope it added some value to your life. Have a beautiful day. Share this with a friend, and I'll speak to you soon. See ya.